Next up, a middleweight fight between Greg Vendetti of nearby Stoneham, Massachusetts, as he takes on Providence, Rhode Island's Angel Valdez. Vendetti enters this fight with a record of 5 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. Valdez with a record of 0-1. Vendetti, his 2 losses in his draw. 2 losses came against Antonio Chavez Fernandez, a very, very tough, experienced veteran on the New England scene. And he also had a loss that really caught him off guard against Pedro Gonzalez, who we'll see in just a little bit tonight as he takes on Chris Gilbert. His draw was to Antonio Chavez Fernandez. Angel Valdez just 1 fight. He got stopped in that fight against Ray Olivera Jr. What I'm interested in seeing here is I want to gauge where Greg Vendetti is at compared to Ray Olivera Jr. with how they both compete against Angel Valdez. Want to make sure we thank the fine folks at Matrix Aerospace for their involvement in tonight's event. Matrix Aerospace, proud supporters of Murphy's Boxing, as Angel Valdez is now inside the ring.
Entering the ring from nearby Stoneham, Massachusetts, please welcome Greg the Villain Vendetti.
I'll say this, Greg Vendetti with some theatrics in his ring entrance tonight. Lights are flickering and dramatic music is playing as he'll be entering Melrose Memorial Hall to a raucous ovation, courtesy of his many fans from nearby Stoneham, Massachusetts. Like I said, just a stone's throw away. Had to drive there to get here to Melrose tonight.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. You know, a lot of professional fighters, even world champions, you know, they spend their whole career and never get this opportunity to fight in front of their hometown like this. This is something that he should really take it all in and enjoy this, because it's a nice ride. This ring walk with all of your fans and everybody getting loud, music, lights out. This is a great experience for them.
Well, both fighters now inside the ring. We go to John Vina for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, your big bout of the evening is scheduled for 4 rounds. This in the 160-pound middleweight division. This bout is proudly sponsored to by Nantucket Blend and McGreevy's Third Base Saloon. And your referee in charge of the action once the bell rings, Mr. Bob Benoit. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner to my right. He's wearing black trunks with yellow trim, weighing in a trim and ready 156 pounds. Tonight, entering the ring for the 2nd time, he comes to us from Providence, Rhode Island. Please welcome Angel Valdez. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner to my left. Wearing the solid black trunks, he weighing in a fit and ready 157 pounds. Record, 5 victories, only 2 defeats, with 1 draw, and 3 big wins coming by way of knockout. He comes to us from nearby Stoneham, Massachusetts. He is the Villain.
Vendetti wearing the solid black trunks. Valdez wearing the black trunks with the yellow trim. 6 rounds of scheduled middleweight action. Interesting in that Vendetti began his career as a welterweight and has steadily moved up to the middleweight division. Valdez, with 1 pro fight to his credit, was the middleweight division. It was a losing effort to Ray Olivera Jr. He was TKO'd in that fight.
Fighters come out swinging pretty hard here. A lot of intensity on some of these shots. Fast start for a first round.
And it'll be interesting to see how the weight comes into play for Greg Vendetti. He has fought 1 fight at middleweight thus far, and it was against Jesus Cintron, who, like Vendetti, is not a natural middleweight. So the full impact of fighting a real middleweight didn't really come into play. Valdez is a real middleweight.
That's right. I think that it would definitely make a difference to have a real middleweight in front of you. See Vendetti's body. He's obviously put a lot of work in to get to this weight. He definitely doesn't look like he doesn't belong, but of course it'll be a difference fighting bigger guys. Everything about it is more power and just definitely a nice left hook there.
Yeah, he knocked Valdez backwards with that shot, but Valdez responds back with a nice shot of his own.
A lot of people would look at it as, the transition moving up. Will he be able to, deal with the pressure and power of a bigger man? But one way to look at it, people forget, is, what he has to offer. Will it be effective with a bigger man as well? Will his game have to change? Will he have to change the way he fights? He looks like a pressure fighter, probably been able to hurt his previous opponents, but this weight difference, he may have to change some things.
That left hand finding a home here in round one for Greg Vendetti.
Vendetti's style reminds me of somebody we're going to see in a little while, Chris Gilbert.
Chris Gilbert's another fighter who has fought between welterweight and middleweight in his career. That would be an interesting collision if it were ever to come to fruition.
I was thinking the same thing. Styles very similar. Both of them come forward, bobbing and weaving. Looks like all of it. I don't think they have a punch that isn't a power punch. Looks like a little bit of blood there. Valdez's forehead.
And Valdez tried to take a moment to wipe the blood away. Vendetti didn't allow him to. I like that.
That's right. That is obviously showing his fighter instincts and take advantage of any situation possible.
Closing seconds of round one. That blood that we do see in the forehead of Valdez, it's almost in the middle of the forehead, really not in a bad spot where it could adversely affect his vision. If anything, it could just be annoyance to him psychologically. Greg Vendetti puts his hands up in celebration at the conclusion of round one. He feels he's won the opening frame. The crowd seems to agree with him. I happen to agree with him. Good opening frame for Greg Vendetti, but Valdez did have some good moments too.
A very competitive first round, and anxious to see the rest of the fight here. I think you're right about the cut on the forehead. It is more towards the middle. Shouldn't have any issues with blood flowing into the eye. So at this point, it is a mental decision he's going to have to make to ignore it and not let it be a factor in the rounds to come.
Greg Vendetti with Joe Ricciardi in his corner. Greg Vendetti, I believe, is Joe Ricciardi's first pro fighter. In the corner of Angel Valdez, Jose Santos taking the lead. Jose Santos has worked corners for many fighters in New England over the years, including Eddie Soto, Vladini Biasi, and so on and so on. Round two of a scheduled four-rounder on its way right now between Greg Vendetti and Angel Valdez.
Seeing already a lot of the same. Vendetti coming out strong, firing combinations, moving his opponent backwards. Anxious to see what he had to do here the rest of the fight. Experienced corner that you were just speaking of, I'm sure made a few adjustments, and let's see what he's got to offer here as the ref warns him for holding his opponent's head down and punching at the same time.
I mentioned Jose Santos in his corner, also Orlando Baez working his corner as well, who currently works with Rich Gingras.
So again, his corner is obviously very strong, which is very important. Very important in a professional career to have a corner that can make adjustments when needed, stay calm, give you the right advice. It's a big puzzle, and that's a huge piece of it.
Orlando also worked significantly with Antonio Chavez Fernandez in his career, as Valdez had a nice right hand that Vendetti responds to with some wild swinging.
Yeah, he did land a nice shot on Vendetti, and then what impressed me even more is it's almost like he could sense that Vendetti was going to try to get that one back, and he held his hands up high while Vendetti was unable to score.
And I mentioned that Orlando worked with Antonio Chavez Fernandez because he represents a loss and a draw on the record of Greg Vendetti.
It's funny somehow how it tide turns and it all comes full circle. Both fighters here looking to start some offense again. Vendetti coming in with a double jab. Valdez is doing a very good job at really keeping his distance just out of harm's way, throwing punches of his own. He's making this fight pretty interesting. And again, this is where we go back to the first round. We're talking about the size. You know, the size is making a difference here, I believe. Nice body shots by Vendetti. Although it didn't look it, I feel like one of those left hooks really affected Valdez. Nice jab, Vendetti. After that left hook to the body, Valdez has really had not much to offer here. It slowed him back quite a bit. Back with the jab. Big right hand, left hook by Vendetti.
Yeah, Valdez has eaten some big shots here in round 2. Another good round for Greg Vendetti. Greg Vendetti's trainer, Joe Ricciardi, was a key player in the short-lived reality series The Fighters, which aired, I believe, on the Discovery Channel. And as I hear him give instructions to Greg Vendetti in the corner, I think to myself, if I was going to typecast a boxing trainer for a TV series or a movie, I think I might just get Joe Ricciardi to play the role.
Yeah, no doubt. I watched that as well, and he did a very good job in that series, and I was actually a little upset that it only lasted such a short time like it did.
I think the entire season did ultimately air in an obscure time slot on the obscure channel.
Yeah, it did. I was unable to watch all that, but I do remember him on there, and I remember the fighter that he was working with at the time actually fought on a Pro-Am card that I fought on in Portland about a year later.
Round 3 underway here between Vendetti and Valdez. It'll be interesting to see if Valdez has any answers to any of the questions in which Greg Vendetti has asked in rounds 1 and 2. Mostly with that left hand that we saw knock some moisture off the head of Valdez moments ago.
Yeah, Vendetti's definitely landing some nice shots, and it seems like just a matter of time these are going to take its toll, especially if he lands any more body shots like the last round.
There's a 4th round TKO for Vendetti in his most recent performance. We're amidst round 3 here. And we're talking about the fact that Valdez might not be able to withstand and absorb the amount of shots he has been for the entire duration of the fight.
No, I don't believe so. You know, he's taking a lot of punishment here, and it's definitely going to add up. Nice combination on the over for Vendetti. Although a few of them were blocked, a couple of them landed too clean. Referee's starting to take a closer look at the action here as Vendetti is landing harder and harder shots. Valdez finally goes down.
And they're going to rule it a slip, but I think it's a combination of the amount of punches Greg Vendetti's landing and exhaustion on the part of Angel Valdez, which led him to his knees moments ago.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Angel makes it out of this round. Yeah.
Referee Bob Benoit issues a stern warning to Vendetti for hitting behind the head, but at the same time, Valdez was leaning over and bending over right in front of him. What's he supposed to do?
That's right. Vendetti's just doing what he's trained to do. It is protect yourself at all times.
Round 3 is coming to a conclusion.
So
And I think the experienced corner of Angel Valdez might want to reconsider sending him out for round 4, considering how this fight is going right now.
I agree. I was surprised that he made it through that round, and I'd be surprised if we've seen him start the next round, if so, last that long.
And I know he hasn't taken big thudding headshots, but he's taken a lot of headshots. I'd like to see a doctor over in that corner as well. And right now I don't see one. Now I see the doctor stand up as soon as I say that. And he's going to take a look at the corner of Angel Valdez, which I think is the right thing to do.
Looks like they're going to send him out for round number 4 here. So let's see if he can make any type of adjustments, keep Vendetti off him. I really don't see any big changes coming. It looked like he was really starting to tire in that last round, and result taking more punishment. So I would assume Vendetti's going to come out stronger, try to take care of this fight and end it.
Fourth and final round between Greg Vendetti and Angel Valdez here at Memorial Hall. Nice 1-2 by Greg Vendetti to begin round 4.
That was a solid left hook, right hand. When you're landing lead left hooks, you know, it obviously shows how confident you are. He's got full control of this fight. Got to give credit to Angel Valdez for taking some of these shots. Definitely has a lot of heart and a solid chin.
You know, we're at a point in the fight where the outcome is not in question whatsoever. And the unfortunate thing for referee Bob Benoit is there's no obvious point to step in and stop it from what we've seen thus far. But the accumulation of punishment Valdez is taking is to some degree frightening.
Yeah, it really is. And this is when, you know, true fighters aren't going to quit. You know, they would rather go out, you know, getting knocked out or whatever it takes. There you go.
Benoit's got to get in there, and he does.
Great. Very good.
A 4th round TKO for Greg Vendetti. An obvious moment finally arose. Benoit took the opportunity to rightfully stop this fight. A 4th round TKO for Greg the Villain Vendetti. And while the villain may be his nickname, he's certainly the babyface tonight, as the crowd here at Melrose, Massachusetts, with a round of applause for his efforts as he improves to 6 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw with a 4th round TKO over Angel Valdez. Well, you know, in the early portions of the fight when Valdez was fresh, he did do some things
Definitely.
that would not tickle Greg Vendetti.
No, definitely. And, you know, this would be a good tape for Vendetti's next opponent to see what worked in the beginning when Valdez was fresh, and you know, to work on that. I think if Valdez was maybe in a little bit better condition, better shape, things may have been a little different. But Vendetti looked very good out there tonight, very active, and it's quite obvious he spends a lot of time in the gym. He looked like he was in great shape.
Still to come here from Melrose Memorial Hall. Next up, Chris Gilbert takes on Pedro Gonzalez. But right now, we will get the official time of the stoppage as Greg Vendetti TKOs Angel Valdez in round 4. And Butch Stearns will chat with Greg Vendetti after the official announcement from our ring announcer, John Vina.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time. 1 minute and 17 seconds of the 4th and final round. Referee Bob Benoit stops his contest. Your winner by KO victory, Greg the Villain Vendetti.
Greg Vendetti victorious over Angel Valdez. And he's going to have a few words with our very own Butch Stearns here on MurphysBoxing.com. Momentarily, a homecoming of sorts for Greg Vendetti in a big 4th round TKO win.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
Made Stoneham proud. Huh?
I did, yeah, it was a good one. It was a good fight.
Felt like you did a lot of your damage in the first couple rounds counter punching.
Yeah, I mean, the game plan was just say, follow through with the left hook. He drops his right a lot, and just hard work and discipline and stick to the game plan. And I knew I'd wear him down eventually. It's kind of my style, but I kind of wanted to string it out all the way to the fourth, give people their money's worth and shit. So it worked out good. It was a good one.
In that third round, it seemed you did start wearing him down. You had like a flurry of punches several times.
Yeah, I kind of figured, it's a 4-rounder. I got to start picking it up a little bit. I like the longer round fights. I feel more comfortable. But the shorter rounds, first two, feel them out, move around, counter a little bit, and then the last towards the end, I try to really put it on him to take him the fuck out. But it worked out good. Yeah, it was good.
So ninth professional fight now. Future's pretty bright for you.
Yeah, it's going good. I had a little mishap there with the weight. I tried to go down to a lower weight, didn't work out. No big deal. But yeah, I mean, I just like training. I like to fight, and I like violence. And if people are entertained by it, keep coming. Because that's what you.
Middleweight. You think middleweight's perfect?
Yeah, I mean, for the closer rounds, like 4s and 6s, I might do middle. But for the longer rounds, I can make 154, no problem now.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, there you go, my friend. There you go. All right, Peter, back to you. You heard it. 4-letter words and all.
Well, it's the internet, Butch, so we can do that here at murphysboxing.com. A 4th-round TKO for Stoneham, Massachusetts, Greg the Villain Vendetti. Still to come here on murphysboxing.com tonight, our main event, 10 rounds of welterweight action as 2008 United States Olympic alternate Danny O'Connor takes on former world title challenger Michael Clark in a 10-round contest. Also in our co-feature, Logan McGuinness, the undefeated Canadian prospect, takes on Carlos Fugencio of Miami, Florida. We'll see the red-hot middleweight prospect Mark DeLuca, a new Al Heyman signee, take on Texas native Larry Smith. And up next, following an intermission, still plenty of boxing left to come here on murphysboxing.com, so make sure you stick with us.